So I'm just right now on the off times. I'm peeking through all the tournaments that are coming up. So there's 2 6 o'clock carbon tournaments, a 109 rebuy, and a $60 buy-in that I'm not currently playing. I'm going to plan on late registering for those. And then the next one starts at 6:45. I'm just trying to get a grasp of when the tournaments start. Okay, so Ace Jack here, I'm definitely opening, obviously. I like to make it fairly big with these hands. I don't really like giving him exceptionally good odds to call, and I think that makes sense because he's in position, and, you know, if I had a hand like Jacks, I would probably raise a bit smaller. I would probably just min-raise or make it 333 or something. It is exploitable, but I don't expect to be getting exploited in general, so it doesn't matter. In spots like these, when I poker 64 flats, his range is very dependent on the player, so this is when it's very good to have stats on your opponent. Because some players, when they flat there, they have pocket kings 100% of the time, or pocket aces. And, you know, you can fold like ace-queen suited. You can make just a huge fold. Sometimes even ace-king offsuit you could consider folding if you think he has aces and kings such a large percent of the time. But on the other hand, some guys will just never have aces and kings here. They're always raising with those hands, and they're just always going to have something that they shouldn't have called with. They'll have something like ace-10 suited, something that's definitely a mistake to call with. And it's really hard to tell in general. Here, if it's folded to me, I'm going to shove. I could just min-raise, but like, I don't really want to encourage weaker hands to re-steal or encourage this guy to call. And yeah, it's definitely going to be a profitable shove with any ace here. So as you can see, I'm sort of focusing a bit on the upper left table and making more commentary about the upper left table. And this is because this is the tournament I'm furthest in. And so I'm trying to pay most attention to the upper left table to see how my opponents are playing. And, you know, this is definitely a good thing to be doing in general. So, as you can see, another thing that I do when I'm playing lots of tables, so I guess 4 tables isn't a lot, but when I'm playing 25 tables, one thing that allows me to do that is, as soon as I see a garbage hand that I know I'm not going to play, I instantly click fold. Pre-folding is the most important technique you'll ever need to learn to be able to play lots of tables. You know, just being able to fold ahead of time and not have to deal with it later is so important. And if you ever fall behind the curve where you're not pre-folding anymore, then you're basically screwed and you're probably going to time out. So pre-folding is very important. So here, this 3-6 suited, we could make a steal, but this Gallianza guy, I saw him, I have a note on him. It says he opens ace-5 suited under the gun and 4-bet versus a squeeze from a short stack. So I'm just going to fold. This pocket queen's hand is fairly interesting. I think I'm going to call and see what happens. I think that's the best play in general. If both of these players are tight, then folding is okay, but Jacks, I'm usually folding here. And ace-king offsuit, I'm usually folding. Ace-king suited, I'd probably usually shove. With pocket queens, I think calling here and getting it in and just trying to play on the flop is probably the best play. Yeah, it really depends on these players. Grundle here, I've seen him play some pots. I don't really know too much about these players. I've seen Grundle pair in a few pots, so he's definitely not the biggest of nits. And this Doi guy, anyone with a name with this many Ys, I usually think is probably fairly more on the loose side, I guess. That's obviously a great flop for us. Here, this ace-9 suited, I open this about 50% of the time, and I do have a good image to open, but there's no antes, so I'm kind of turned off. And also, it's a high buy-in tournament, so the relative skill of my opponents is going to be higher, so I don't really have that big of an edge from playing the hand, so I think folding is fine. With this pocket queens here, I think I'm checking back. I don't think they have aces or kings. I think they would have bet, so I'm just going to check. And, you know, hopefully if one guy has pocket jacks, that's the best possible situation for me. So